Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the Yamaha 62. This tenor saxophone is setting the standard for professional instruments, and I want you to find out why. Stick around. My name's Andrew.
I'm Jason. We're here at Alamo Music Center today, alamomusic.com. Come and visit us on our virtual storefront. Please like and subscribe to our sort of new video channel here. And today we are talking about
the Yamaha 62, the YTS-62 Mark III. This is an awesome tenor saxophone. This is pretty much the entry-level beginner model on the Yamaha line. It usually goes, you got like the 20 series, you got the 40 series, the 50 series, and then you're hitting here, or the 400 series, but you hit here at the 60 series once you hit the professional line.
So what is the major difference with a saxophone between what this is, a beginning pro, and an intermediate horn?
So when you get into the intermediate models, it's kind of like, what kind of happens is you get that beginner body, right? So you get that like the Yamaha 23 or the 26. You get that beginner body, and what they start doing is adding kind of the more professional parts. Nothing to do really with the neck, but the big difference is going to be that the keys and everything are going to be like the key action is going to be faster. Once you get into this is where air becomes way more important. So say with the 62 from the 480, the big difference is going to be the neck is going to be larger. So it's going to have a bigger, basically a bore, larger bore and everything. So you get more air into the horn, you get a bigger sound, more whole sound and everything, much more characteristic to what you want to do.
Right.
The big difference also is going to be some of the keys are more reinforced. We also have basically everything is planted on the horn much more professionally, like a lot more attention is made to the horn and everything. But when it comes down to it, this instrument is designed to respond and help you rather than kind of get in your way when it comes to playing certain ways. When it comes to like when you play on those intermediate or the student model horns, sometimes when you play at a certain speed, it can get uncomfortable to play because the action isn't helping as much as it should be. This one, it will not get in your way.
So I'm assuming that means that the mechanisms are a little bit more fragile?
Yeah, lighter. Definitely. Lighter. Yeah, the metal itself is a little lighter and everything. The springs are going to be made of complete steel. They're going to be stronger as well, so you're pushing a little harder on it, but that means it comes back much faster. So it's basically resetting much faster than normal. So definitely a lot more care is going to be needed when it comes to, like, say, a professional instrument. Someone who's watching this video is probably coming into this looking into wanting to purchase that first professional model, right? You're probably a kid in high school wanting to go into college. Maybe you want to get more serious into the horn. That's when you start looking for something like this. This would be the first time where this is the level horn I wouldn't take out into the marching field, basically. Right?
Got it.
But yeah, it's great. But yeah, the fragility of it is definitely something to be aware of.
Okay.
As far as anything else with the horn that I would say of note is going to be the tuning is also fantastic. One of my favorite parts of this instrument is that the intonation throughout the whole horn is extremely consistent. So no matter what kind of style you're playing, whether it be classical, jazz, or anything in between, you're going to have an instrument that's going to play with you. It's not going to get in your way or anything like that.
I remember going through an exercise with one of my groups where we did tuning charts for every instrument, every player. It was a two-man deal. There were some rules. But the one thing that I noticed with one of my saxophone players in particular, she was very good and played on a quality instrument. And I'm sure some of this was her, but I'm sure some of it was the horn. With her target, it seems like everything was within 20 cents, as opposed to a beginner horn where all of a sudden you'd get something way flat or way sharp.
Right.
an accurate assessment of?
Yeah, I think one of the things to note about saxophone in general, and this is kind of an opinion I have about it, is that it's a very Frankenstein instrument. The way it was created and everything like that, it was very based on instruments that were perfected over a large amount of years, right?
Right.
But when it comes to the saxophone, there's certain issues with it that need to be taken into account once you get into this higher level. One of the big issues is that once you close off the horn all the way down, say like to your D or your low D, you end up getting having an issue with flatness. So what this does and everything with the key heights, with the tone holes and everything, and the way they're measured so perfectly, and because of Yamaha's reputation for consistency, you know you're going to get that good one when you play it.
Right.
Those issues aren't as much of really going to be pronounced. One of my favorite things about playing these kinds of horns is when you go ahead and start playing into it, going through the scale, as long as you're not changing too much with your embouchure and like your kid and everything like that, not having too much issue throughout the whole horn. As long as you're not changing your embouchure too much throughout the two main octaves of the instrument, you're not going to have much of a problem.
Right. So would a horn like this have more utility as a jazz horn or a classical, or does that even enter into the equation with this instrument?
So I kind of, when it comes to the 62 series, across the alto, the tenor, even maybe the bari too, the term I would say would be vanilla. You kind of can go both ways with it. You can have your own additives. I think that this is the kind of horn, it's great for someone wanting to get into, say, like a music school and not really worried about wanting to go in either direction, but having the way to fulfill both needs perfectly. There's not a lot wrong with the instrument, but that also means there's not a lot of huge characteristics that come with it. When you come to, like, say, a Selmer or something, that's going to have some tuning issues, of course, but it's also going to have really good projection. It's going to really assist in certain ways that make it helpful for something in jazz, per se. Or if you're going to play something like a Yanagisawa, which has a great low end on the instrument, this doesn't really have those huge characteristics that would help pronounce those effects in a different genre. But because of that, it's really up to the player to really bring that out. There's tons of great professional players. I know that the alto saxophone for John Williams, he plays on a 60 series. He plays on a 60 series, and he's able to play both like all the great scores that he played for the classical stuff, but also the weird stuff he did for the jazz stuff. So there's a lot of this one gives kind of a wide berth and lets you go into both worlds without really having a special.
So a quality all-purpose instrument.
Exactly. So this is perfect for a college student. If you're coming out of high school, you've been playing on a student model your whole time, and you need to get this professional gear because you're going to school, you want to be a professional.
Right.
This is it. There are going to be instruments above it, and they all have their own quirks and everything like that. But this one kind of does everything you need for, honestly, a great price.
So really anything above this, and we talk about it with other instruments, you're really focused, or the player's focused in on highlighting a certain area that they feel is a strength.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be an issue for a lot of people, especially if you're coming into it and you really want to kind of be good at one thing. Then yeah, go do the research and everything and get into it. But when it comes to being a saxophone player, you're going to be doing a lot of both things in college and in your career too. If you're going to be playing for a living or anything like that, or you're going to go do military playing, or even if you're going to go and just join a community ensemble, for Pete's sake, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you can do with this kind of horn, and it's not going to deter you from anything else.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and play it out, and I'll show you what's going on with it.
Awesome. So earlier you referred to the saxophone as kind of a Frankenstein instrument. One thing I always find interesting, not being a saxophone player, is just the level of complexity that you can get out of a sax. When you're playing that, I definitely hear the overtones ringing, and that to me, like when I talk to younger kids about overtones, I don't talk about it in terms of brass, but when you get these things to ring, it rings like 10,000. So there's the ring of it, and then there's the woody sound of it, right?
Yeah, and it's a balance.
Right.
You'd spend a lot of time, especially when you start getting like actual private lessons with someone who's really wanting you to have a good sound, because air is also always an issue with a young musician and everything, right? Trying to get the whole thing out. But once you get to that point, that's when you start trying to get your own sound. So like that woodiness to it, and then having the overtones, and then also having kind of the dark circle around it, trying to keep it all contained and focused in one direction and everything. That's a big thing. And an instrument like this just facilitates that, because most sound is going to come from the player. Right. I could play like 4, 5, 10 different horns, and my characteristics of my sound and everything and how I play is not going to change much throughout it. What's changing the most is how I feel when playing it, how I'm feeling mechanically when I'm playing it, and just my comfortability and my ability to intonate throughout the horn. But with this thing, I feel extremely comfortable. I play normally on a Yamaha 880. That's what I use in my professional life. And this horn just feels right at home. I don't have to change much. And there's just so much you can do with it. It'll take you really far. But yeah, well, thank you so much for listening. Again, remember to visit us at alamomusic.com, and please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon for any other videos that we have going on, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.